To the Mozambique story, we are joined on the line by SABC News reporter Jonathan Lunga. Jonathan, a very good morning to you.
Morning, Des.
Just recap to us about the attacks. What happened?
Well, these are the attacks that started last year, around October, where a group of gunmen attacked 3 police stations up in the north in the Cabo Delgado province, which is bordering Tanzania. But that happened in an area called Mozambique. What happened there is that they attacked the police stations and killed the 2 policemen. And later on, the government troops, which is police and soldiers, managed to trace them down and killed about 14 of them, and about 10 were arrested. And then that was the beginning of these attacks around that area of Cabo Delgado.
The group calls itself AlSunnah. Do we know anything about them?
Well, there's no evidence that they are members of Al-Shabaab or any other extremist groups. But what is known is that they have just they grouped themselves, and they are not known by anyone. But for now, they are calling themselves AlSunnah wa Jamaa. But we are told that they are not linked to any of the groups, which is Al-Shabaab, the extremist group.
What is their modus operandi, Jonathan, and should neighboring countries be worried about these extreme attacks?
Well, for now, the motive for the attacks are still not known. But when I spoke to the South African director at the Terrorism Research and Analysis Consortium, Jasmine Opperman, she indicated that this must be worrying for the region as a whole. But what is really worrying is that the region didn't say anything, or they have not said anything about the attacks happening there in Cabo Delgado, because in her view is that as it is happening, they should attend to this challenge, because it will later on affect the whole region once this spreads towards the south of the country, where there's Maputo and other cities of Mozambique.
You just mentioned it now, but Jonathan, is there any indication that the attacks will spread to the rest of the country or even beyond the borders?
The information that I've gathered is that these extremists, they get training from other countries, and then they cross into Mozambique. And the indication that I got is that the establishment of oil reserves, oil reserves in that country up there in the offshore of Palma might be another factor whereby the group is also interested in those minerals. But anyway, that will not be the reason for them to attack. There might be other reasons why they are doing that, of which we are not sure. But Jasmine indicated that if this is not being attended to as soon as possible, and they are not using, the Mozambican government is not using force, is using force, this might spread to the whole country of Mozambique.
One of the biggest stories to come out of Mozambique recently, Jonathan, was the death of long-time opposition leader Afonso Dhlakama. Is there any link to his death, to this incident?
There's no link at the moment, because we have seen on and off skirmishes and clashes that occurred in recent years between government groups, the government troops, and as well as armed militias up in the north around the Beira city. and Ngorongosa, where Alfonso Dhlakama went for hiding. But anyway, this has not been reported that it has been linked to with the recent attacks where people have been beheaded and houses burned and the attacks on police stations. Because you remember that there were talks between Dhlakama and the President Nyusi. The talks are still ongoing, but there are no reports of any links between this group of extremists and that of the Renamo.
Jonathan Lungu, thank you so much for that report, giving us the latest on extremist attacks in the northern part of Mozambique in the Cabo Delgado area. You're watching The Agenda. Time for your